Pop culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on the Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, sunshine. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. I'm not having a very lucky day today, you guys. First of all, I slept in so late because I worked out until about 10 something last night. So this morning, I slept through my alarms, which got my day started on a really bad note. And then just now, my phone died. I have it plugged behind me, trying to figure out what I could do to revive it. Keeping my fingers crossed that it's going to be okay. If not, I might have to cancel for my Aikido tonight to go to the phone store to, I don't know, get it fixed or get a new one. So we'll see. You know, I'm checking the date right now. It's Friday. Apparently it's the 16th, but it's feeling like Friday the 13th for me in particular. Lord have mercy. Good morning, Jaleesa. You got to see, she was in Chicago last night. Wow. Can you please tell us how it was? How particularly was it to listen to her sing the song Hands to Heaven in real life? That must have been absolutely incredible. So happy you're here with us. Hi, Yessie. So nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning, Nancy, Michelle, Venetia, Stephanie, Ronnie, Leah, Ali, Mariah, Kayla, Patty LaBelle. My thing is frozen. Who else is here? We got Jessica, we've got Monica, we've got Kayanne, Alexa. So nice to see all of you guys here. Good morning, good morning, good morning, my sunshines. Let's see what some people have to say here. Nancy says, today's headlines are truly intriguing. And listen, there's actually another headline that I didn't get to load in because this is a last minute addition. Lala Kent from Vanderpump Rules. She has some kind of like cancer situation going on with her eye, you guys. Like, that was a very surprising story to see. So she's been given some sort of eye drops, and I've got a video that she posted on her social media to talk about the situation. But basically, there's something going on with her eye, and it's particularly visible on the inner corner of her eye. And she's really freaking out, understandably so, right? Because, you know, anytime you hear something is cancerous or precancerous or anything like that, that is something that is worth worrying about, of course, right? So we got the information on that. We're also going to talk about the Justin Baldoni of it all. I got to say, I'm disappointed in Justin Baldoni's lawyers, right? So we talked about that filing that they made in court yesterday and how they had claimed that Blake Lively's team had tried to sort of force Taylor Swift to release a statement in order to exonerate her from the allegations being made. And then they said that, like, you know, Blake is also participating in witness tampering or, you know, trying to obfuscate the situation and, like, you know, all the information that they need to gather for this case. And the judge came down hardcore on him and his team. It's not good, right? Not good at all. The judge actually, spoiler alert, but the judge said, listen, at this point, it kind of feels like you guys are just doing all this stuff for the press. You're abusing the process, and this is not okay. Keep it up, and you're going to see, right? F around and find out, essentially. And so that's very, very worrisome. Justin Bieber has also finally broken his silence about his connection to Diddy and whether or not he was a victim of Diddy as well. Nikki Bella, do y'all remember her? She was first on the WWE. That's how we mainly know her. Then she was dating John Cena. And then she got married to the dancer from So You Think You Can Dance and Dancing with the Star, Artem. Well, now she owes him quite a bit of money in child support and just as a divorce settlement as well. So lots to get into in today's episode of the Morning Report. If you find yourselves enjoying the show, please don't hesitate to go ahead and leave a thumbs up so YouTube knows you enjoy my content. By the way, you guys, I'm going to be running right out of here to go to my martial arts class, and you always have to wipe your makeup off. So I think on Wednesdays and Fridays, I'm just not going to wear any makeup just to skip that step. FYI, okay? Ooh, it was raining in Chicago. Oh no, you guys are supposed to be the windy city, not the rainy city. That is Seattle. Sorry to hear that it rained you guys in, but I hope it was still a really good show nonetheless. Monica, no worries. Listen, I usually, if I'm going to be late, it's a maximum of 5 minutes. I'm sorry about that, you guys. I'm really, je suis dégoûtée. I'm disgusted, like, by what's going on with my phone. I really thought that it would, it would be back up and running. I tried 3 different chargers and it is just not, it's done, but it's kind of old. I think I've had it since 2020, which ideally it doesn't seem that old, but in the tech world, it is. It's awesome. Okay, well, I hope everything goes well with you at your doctor's appointment. Thanks so much for coming in and keeping us company. And good morning, Bridget, Summer Breeze. So nice to see you. Good morning, Hayet as well. Ashley, Lily, Chrissy Lynn, Gala, Deja, Beach Chocolate. So nice to see all of you guys. Jaleesa, you guys, for those of you who are just tuning in, she got to see Beyonce last night in concert. And so Beyonce singing Hands to Heaven had me in tears. Oh, I just know it's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm going to repost this video that I saw on my TikTok of this guy who's like, I just know I'm going to be floating into air. And I feel like it's going to be the same for me too. Like, oh God bless Beyonce. How lucky are we to be in the same era as Beyonce, to know and appreciate and love her music. Oh, wow. So it must have been dangerous, right, to go on any sooner. So I'm happy that, everything went off without a hitch and that it didn't have to be canceled or anything like that. Can you imagine? That happened to us at a festival in this past summer in Montreal. Ray was on stage and then it started like thunder lightning. So they had to get her off stage. But thankfully she was able to go back and perform again. Bonjour, Remster. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Acacia. Good morning, Gwen. So nice to see y'all here. So why don't we get started, shall we? The first story on our docket was the Baldoni story. Give me a second, you guys. I'm feeling a little bit short here. I'm going to grab one of these pillows so I can sit on it. And of course, my stage 5 cleaner has to come and follow me. She said, where are we going? Where are we going? Take me with you. That's what I love about dogs. I find them, their clinginess to be absolutely adorable. All right, so here goes. Like I told you guys, at first, and this is what's really surprising to me, I don't understand why Justin Baldoni's team is fumbling this situation, right? So when the lawsuits and stuff started spinning around, most people were on Justin Baldoni's side, right? And then when they released the video, when they released all sorts of other things to prove his side, more and more people were on his side. But now his legal team, I don't know what kind of strategy they're pulling here, what changed about them. But now they're behaving in a way that I don't love it, to be honest, right? So last week we talked about them, saying, hey, Blake, if you really want to be an ally for women, dealing with sexual harassment, why don't you sell tickets, for your deposition? We could watch it live in Madison Square Garden. Dude, this is a harassment case. It's not for people's entertainment. It's not a pay-per-view WWE event. What was that, right? Just very weird stuff going on. And then yesterday we talked about, and here's a little overview of what they had filed. It was just this gossipy thing that they filed with the docket saying, hey, Blake Lively has been trying to force Taylor Swift to speak up for her. She's also telling Taylor Swift to delete these text messages, which very well could be true. But it's just, and we'll get into it a little bit, as we read the judge kind of eviscerating them for filing this in his courtroom. It's just that it was inappropriate for the case at play here. It was not the right jurisdiction. All sorts of things were wrong with what it is that they had filed there. And I have a copy of the court document. So we're definitely going to go over it together just to, understand a little bit more about what happened and why the judge is extremely unhappy with them. I'm worried that they are losing a lot of the goodwill that they have had up until this point. Okay. So this is what the judge had responded to their document with, okay? And mind you, Blake Lively's team had petitioned to get it stricken from the records. So the judge said that courts have inherent power to manage their own affairs so as to achieve the orderly and expeditious disposition of cases. This includes the power to strike materials outside the pleadings that are, quote, abusive or otherwise improper. So the judge overseeing this case is quite literally saying, you guys are just being abusive at this point. You guys just want to bring a barrage of bad press to this woman. You guys just want to harass this woman, and that is not okay. This is not good. It's really not. And so they said the Second Circuit has emphasized that courts should protect the judicial process from being co-opted to promote scandal arising out of unproven, potentially libelous statements. Right. So at this point, the judge is low-key saying, you guys, you're using my courtroom to libel, to slander somebody, and that is not okay. It has stated that a district court has not only the power, but the responsibility to exercise, quote, supervisory power over its own records and files to ensure that they are not used to gratify private spite or promote public scandal. Every phrase is just harsher than the last to really hammer it in here that Justin Baldoni's legal team is bullying, Justin Baldoni's legal team is harassing, and Justin Baldoni's legal team is being incredibly inappropriate. And, I'm clutching my imaginary pearls at just how scathing this response is. It could have been a lot more like, hey, listen, this has nothing to do with the case. This is not, my jurisdiction. This is this, that. No, but they said, oh, you're going to learn today. And because you guys want everything to play out in the public, to slander Blake and to get people, hate train and whatnot against Blake and whatnot, let me put you on notice in front of the entire press, because we know that everybody is watching this, right? Like a hawk. The press is going to see this. So now it's your turn to face consequences for what you're doing, right? And again, you guys, I'm not Team Blake. I'm not Team Justin. I am Team Truth. I just want for the truth to come out in all of this. But for now, Justin's team, they effed up this time. They royally effed up. And so the judge continued on to say, it has stated that a district court has not only the power, but also the responsibility to exercise supervisory power over its own records and files to ensure that they are not used to gratify. Okay, so we got to that already. The letter is improper and must be stricken. It is irrelevant to any issue before this court and does not request any action from this court. So basically, it was like a burn book entry, right? Blake is so mean. Blake did this to Taylor Swift, right? I heard from a friend of a friend of a friend that Blake was doing this to Taylor Swift. And he wasn't even asking the judge, like, hey, can you send out like a cease and desist to Blake Lively so that she doesn't delete text messages? Can you tell her to stop? It was just a burn book entry, essentially. And that is embarrassing, right? So as we continue on to see what the judge had to say about Justin Baldoni's team's latest filing, we read the following. It concerns a subpoena proceeding in the District of Columbia over which this court has no authority. The sole purpose of the letter is to promote public scandal by advancing inflammatory accusations on information and belief against Lively and her counsel. So he's quite literally saying, y'all ain't ish. You guys are just trolling. You guys are just harassing, and you're just doing it for the public. You're clout chasers. Someone here, I think it might have been Milan yesterday, but someone yesterday said that Justin Baldoni's lawyers are clout chasers, and the judge is pretty much saying that. It transparently invites a press uproar by suggesting that Lively and her counsel attempted to extort a well-known celebrity. Retaining the letter on the docket would be of no use to the court and would allow the court's docket to serve as a reservoir of libelous statements for press consumption. He said, no, this is not Harvey 11. This is not page 6. Take your mess over to them. Leave the court of law out of it. The same is true for the Wayfarer Party's subsequent submission at docket number 219, which the court will strike sua sponte for the same reason. So he struck at 2 times. The Second Circuit has noted that court filings may be abused to make potentially defamatory statements without the threat of liability, given that under New York law, absolute immunity from liability for defamation exists for oral or written statements made in connection with the proceeding before a court. It has advised the press accordingly. So basically, it seems like he says, run and tell your little press friends that what you filed was BS, since you want to talk to the press so bad. Let me go and find the rest of it. It's almost done, you guys, by the way. But again, the judge truly eviscerated Justin Baldoni's team here. And if I were Justin Baldoni, I would be having like some words with these people, because this is embarrassing. It's humiliating. The Second Circuit has noted that court filings may be abused to make potentially, okay, we saw that. It has advised the press accordingly that although the act of filing a document with a court might be thought to lend that document additional credibility, in fact, allegations appearing in such documents might be less credible than those published elsewhere. So he said, this is BS, press, since I know you're watching. Just because this was filed here in the court does not mean that it is legitimate. Hell, the stuff you see on Radar Online, the Daily Fail, might be even more credible than this nonsense that these people just tried to get through my damn courtroom. Like, it seems to me that whatever good favor they had with the judge is all but gone, you guys. The judge told them to F off. And at the end, the judge even said, try this ish again in my courtroom and you will be sanctioned. Damn. I have not seen such a scathing, and I mean scathing, response from the judge at all. Like, they have been going back and forth naturally, right, in this situation. But this is really something that pissed off the judge. This judge said, this is not something that we are doing for the press. This is a serious situation. Like, what do you, like, get out of here with this nonsense. Try it again. Try me. Try it again. I dare you. See what happens. Wow. Very, very, very ugly stuff. Good morning, Acacia, Gwen. Good morning, Star. Good morning, Kayla, Karma. I saw Shem Gem in the building as well. Good morning, good morning, good morning, y'all. Stephanie, good morning. Ashley, we got Ashley number 2. Just 3 more Ashleys. Good morning, Bree. Let's see what some of y'all had to say about this, okay? Because that was woof. Wild. And Jaleesa got to see that. TikTok was so funny. Oh my God. And I'm really glad that you got to have a good time, Jaleesa. What did you wear, by the way? Because I still don't have my outfit. Malen says, like I said yesterday, I am team no one. Justin and Blake are cringe. And I agree. Up until this point, I was like, okay, like it's looking like Justin is going to have this. But to me, if you're so desperate that you would go and do something like this to piss off the judge to this level, maybe, just maybe, whatever we thought you had, whatever proof or this or that was smoke and mirrors up until this point. And it's ironic because one of the things that Blake Lively is accusing him of is DARVO, right? Which is when you try to retaliate against somebody by publicly trying to smear their character and everything like that. That is what he and his legal team just did. They tried to tar and feather her for no reason. And the judge said, back off. You know, the judge could have just left it at, no, I agree with Blake's team, I'm going to strike it. But no, the judge was so pissed off that the judge wrote 4 pages scolding Baldoni's legal team, saying this is BS, this is bullying, this is harassment, this is libel, which is something that he can be sued over, right? If a judge tells you this is libel, if I were Blake Lively, heck, this is a new lawsuit. That was libel, that garbage that you put in there, right? And then on top of that, the judge says, hey, press, I see you watching. Just so you know, this was BS. And whatever made up crap you see on the internet might be more credible than the BS that Justin Baldoni's team just tried to slide through my courtroom. Can you imagine then having to face that judge for the rest of this trial? Wow, this is not good. The judge is pissed off. Kayla says it's almost egotistical. And I agree. I'm shocked by this. This is not good for Justin Baldoni's brand. Ramster says this Lively Baldoni soap is getting on my nerves, especially compared to the absolute diddler horror show. This seems so frivolous, and I completely agree. Wasting a judge's time should be fined, and I agree with that as well. That was so reckless and irresponsible. And here's the thing: so many people hate Blake Lively, and listen, there are many reasons to hate Blake Lively, right? But even if you hate somebody, right is right, wrong is wrong, and fair is fair, right? What Justin Baldoni's team did there was wrong. It was ugly and it was unfair. And that is why the judge tore them a new one. Star says this case is so exhausting. How peaceful it is to be a mature adult, work things out amongst each other and right your wrongs. I agree. I still cannot believe that we have made it to this point, because whew, Lord have mercy, they all must be exhausted. By the time they actually wrap this up next year, the two of them are going to have to age 10 to 15 years. And the judge was more partial to Baldoni's team at first, but when they came and they pulled this fast one, oh, that changed almost immediately. This makes Judge Judy seem like Tinkerbell, and that is saying a lot, right? Oh my God. Hey, Misha. Good morning, Grace and Chat. Here to give you a thumbs up. Have a fantastic day. Thanks so much, Misha. Nice to see you, boo. Oh, Lord, y'all. I just do not know what to say. Again, I too was somebody who was not Team Baldoni, but more, when the proof or the statements and whatnot came out, I was like, okay, like I believe Justin's side of things more. But now the more and more his team gets at it, I think it's because they're getting cocky or something, but it's not looking good. They just throw the whole case out. They're both all big-headed, self-absorbed celebrities. And listen, that's true too. Like nobody here is innocent, right? And so at least I hope that these actions show people that, because people like to be so extreme in their things, like, oh, I hate this person or this person, so the other person has to be an angel. No, what if they're both crap? They might both be crap, y'all. Just saying. But I will say something that I find really interesting in the midst of all of this back and forth is that Blake Lively's best friend, Taylor Swift, has not come out to put the rumors to rest, right? Taylor Swift could have just said, you know what? Shame on Justin Baldoni and his team for making up lies. Nobody from my team contacted him with any kind of information. That is not true. Blake is my friend. She did not do that. But so far, she has yet to do that, which I do find to be a little bit interesting. But at the same time, she's got a mega brand to protect. It's not in her best interest to be getting wrapped up in all of this drama. Wow. I'm a little bit speechless about this, you guys. I saw somebody who just joined asking if I talked about the Janelle and Jace story, but no, not yet. That is actually going to be our next story. So you came at the right time. Okay. Bree says, I'm still confused why they're in court. Listen, a lot of people theorize that Blake took this to court in order to steal the rights from the It Ends With Us sequel from Justin Baldoni, because part of the contract was that Justin Baldoni had the rights to all of the films, unless there was some kind of like morality clause or something like that breached. And so Taylor, people are saying that Blake is suing for that reason. But just overall, she's saying that she was harassed on that film, and she wants to be made whole for that, right? And then Justin's saying, no, that's BS. You're a liar. You tried to steal the film from me. It's a lot of mess and back and forth, essentially. A big convoluted mess. Do you guys know what else is a big convoluted mess, y'all? The situation involving Janelle Evans and Jace Evans, right? So real quick, Janelle, she got custody of Jace back from her mother, Barbara, not too long ago. And ever since, all hell has broken loose. Jace has been running away just, almost nonstop for a very long time. Janelle has been having a lot of trouble reining him in and just, him adapting or adjusting to her home life and everything. Don't forget, per usual, she's got a bunch of, random men running in and out of the house. She had moved in that random new guy she was dating, August and whatnot. And so it was not good, right? Most recently, she called 911 on him, accusing him of breaking and smashing things around the house. And then we just heard that she shipped him off to Florida to go and live with his father, Andrew, which ordinarily would be a good thing, right? A child, a boy being off to live with his father. However, Jace does not know this man. He has only seen this man a handful of times. So shipping him from Las Vegas to Florida, and on top of that, she sent him alone, and he's still a minor, right? And she's got a very flexible life. She could shoot her little pornos from anywhere she wants, so she could have flown with him, but she just chose not to. So yes, now he's over there living with his father, and his father happens to live with his own mom. So, really getting to see the other side of the family. And now we're finding out, courtesy of the U.S. Sun, that Jace is going to be reunited with his grandmother, aka his real mother, Barbara, very soon. I suspect that Janelle was keeping Jace from Barbara just to punish Barbara, although that does punish Jace as well, because Barbara is his real mother figure. Janelle is just that, the rug addicted older sister, right? So according to the source, quote, the plan is for Barbara to come to Florida in June to help Jace fly back to Las Vegas for some things he needs to take care of there. So once again, Janelle, when she sent Jace over there, she left him unaccompanied. She didn't want to go with him. Like, she couldn't be bothered, right? Like the lazy, rug addicted older sister that she is. However, his real mother, Barbara, is going to fly over there to Florida to bring him back to Vegas, which is not even where she lives. That's where Janelle lives. So she's really stepping up like the real mother here. I think she too was horrified at the fact that Janelle sent him out there completely alone in the middle of such a traumatic situation. Again, sending him out there to fly on his own, not cool. And then on top of that, not even going to look for yourself to check out the place that he is going to be living, to have like, you know, a transitionary period, like, hey, look, we all get along. This is all good. This is going to be great, to set like a good kind of, you know, spirit or ambiance about the entire transition. No, it was just get the heck out of here, leave me alone. And then good luck, right? Barbara did not like that, so it seems, right? And so when eventually Jace will go back to Las Vegas, Barbara's going to be the one to accompany him. And mind you, the woman is 72 years old, and she has not had a moment of peace since she gave birth to these children. And it's not just Janelle. Like I said, she's 0 for 3 in terms of well-adjusted children. So bless her, right? The source also said that Jace hated everything about Vegas from the moment he got there, and he very much missed North Carolina. This is much closer to what he is familiar with. It's an added benefit that Florida is just a drive to North Carolina. So Jace's childhood friends are much more in reach than they were when he was across the country in Vegas. And Jace doesn't want to move to Vegas. He hates it. He's not happy, and he's lonely there. He thinks Vegas is too hot, that it's miserable, and worst of all, he has to start all over again there. So far, it really seems like he likes kind of like a quieter side of life, a more nature-filled side of life and whatnot. So apparently, Florida is doing him well. And I also think that he probably just likes being away from this crazy woman. Like this woman, we've seen her on the show, right? And we've seen her on her social media, all the crying, all the screaming, all the yelling, you know, all the hiding out in her shed and whatnot. Like, I'm not surprised that this child does not really want to be around her and that he is thriving away from her. And I'm also not surprised that his real mother, Barbara, is going to step up and properly accompany him when it's time for him to fly again, instead of just leaving him to figure it out on his own, as if she doesn't give a damn. You know, listen, I get it. If your job doesn't let you clock out to do this, to do that, you can't get the time off. Janelle, she shows her booty hole for a living, and you can do that anywhere, right? So she very well could have done this. She could even brought the other children, and she makes good money doing that, y'all. Didn't she say she makes like 20 grand a month? She makes good money doing that. So she could have even brought the other kids with her for this trip as well. You know, it could have been this family little weekend trip, and then the kids go back, you know, or something like that. But like, it really, really sucks that she just kind of, you know, left him there like that. Good morning, Nikki. Good morning, Tiff. Good morning, everybody tuning in. So nice to see y'all. And Brie had said about that Blake Lively Taylor Swift story, I don't think Taylor wants to be involved. Me neither. Me neither. You know, as much as it sucks, and she probably does want to say something if it's not true, right? It's best for her to just stay out of it. Kayla says the guy couldn't even be bothered to be present for 15 or 16 years. Why now? Exactly. Apparently she called him and she said, listen, I never asked for anything. This time I really do need you to step up. And it's like, listen, girl, you've never really had to ask for anything because you weren't raising the child either. Let's stop it. Dip says she's trash. I hope he gets back on the medication he needs to be on. And that's another thing, right? We haven't really gotten an update on what was going on with the medication. We don't deserve an update, right? It's none of our business. But it did come out that David did not want for Jace to be on medication that he had been on his entire life. And according to Barbara, that is when things started to spiral out of control. And as far as I'm aware, that Janelle has never refuted that, and she has never talked about putting him back on his medication. In fact, she's kind of doubled down on keeping him off of medication. Computer Robot says, so Janelle Evans Rogers Easton was fighting with her mom over custody regarding Jace. Now that she got custody of Jace, she sends him to live with his dad. She can't handle responsibility. Exactly. She can't even accept that this is her fault, that she has any role to play in all of this? We talked about this in yesterday's morning report. We went over this video that she posted on TikTok where she blamed everything on Barbara, essentially. She's like, no, he didn't grow up with me, not my fault. Girl, the fact that he did not grow up with his own mother is your fault, right? The fact that you were screaming in his ear and causing all these issues where CPS was about to take him away is your fault. Ali says, I'm kind of worried about how they might handle a troubled youth in their home that they don't have established a relationship. Exactly. I don't know how this is going to work out. And I don't know if Andrew's even a healthy person. Like, he kind of just, does he look like a healthy person to you guys? Let me put the picture back up. Listen, we can't judge a book by its cover, but just based off what I know about him from, you know, the show and whatnot and the books, I don't know that Jace is in a good place with this guy. I kind of worry that he might be like the influence that Leah's father was on her, right? Remember how Leah's father would be like helping her score rugs and whatnot. They were shooting up together. They were popping pills together. That's what I worry a life with Andrew is going to be like, right? I don't think that Andrew, you know, much like Janelle, was meant to be a parent. And so it's very, 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 very scary stuff. I hope Jace is okay, but I don't know. Ramster says, is this Andrew going to dump Jace at Barbara's now? Let's wait and see. Good point, right? Jace just got there a couple days ago, boom, right? But I think that Barbara just wanted to seize this opportunity to spend time with him because ever since Janelle got custody back, she kept Barbara from Jace. So Barbara has not really seen Jace in at least a year or something like that. So hopefully, listen, maybe if even Jace has to go back with Barbara in North Carolina and she wants that, to me, that would be the best case scenario. Good question, Petty. I know he was modeling in China for a bit, but after that, I have no idea. Acacia says Janelle is trash, and I agree. Kayla says, I don't see this working out long term. I wish it would, but I just don't see it, and I don't see it either. Andrew knows nothing about this child. Andrew has made no attempts to parent this child. It's too big of an adjustment. I think that he's going to see Jace as a younger brother or something and just be a bad influence in that way, and that the relationship is going to be incredibly, incredibly inappropriate, you know? And it sucks, right? I really feel for Jace. Michelle says, oh, I bet Jace gave her hell. Bree says, Janelle is such a crappy mom to Jace. You know she wouldn't do that to Ensley. Kayla says, he needed stability and they just up and uproot him again. It's great short term, but once the newness phase wears off, how will they deal with his long-term problems? Hey, Kahara, nice to see you. Acacia had also said it says a lot that Jace is thriving now that he's away from that, right? And mind you, it's only been a couple days. So I kind of wonder if you know what I was kind of thinking of, speaking on that point, I was wondering, is the source Janelle? Because picture this, you guys. She's been getting a lot of heat for the fact that she has shipped this child off, right? Unaccompanied, all that sort of thing. And so now all of a sudden, after trying to defend herself on TikTok by throwing the child under the bus, exposing all of his medical private information, now we're finding out that this was the best move ever. Jace is thriving. Jace is having the best time. It's too soon to really know all of that. Jace is still unpacking his suitcase, you know? So I am of the belief that Janelle planted this story. I don't know why, but that's what my intuition is telling me. So people could be like, oh, this was a great thing, you know? And so later she could take credit for doing this great thing, right? What do you guys think? I'm just saying that is my hypothesis. Steph says it's effed up if you think about it. Janelle only wanted Jace because Barbara took better care of Jace than she did Janelle. Ah, you think that's it? Barbara tried to include Janelle in all the decisions she made for Jace, and that infuriated her. This family, honestly, I hope that the children break the cycle because this family is just full of generational trauma. I don't know a single person in this family tree that is thriving. I don't, you know? And so I really do hope that like this generation, so Ashley's children, Janelle's children and whatnot are able to break the cycle, but it's not starting off well for any of them. You know, they've all been pulled from, their homes at least once. In Janelle's case, how many times? 4 times, something like that. Like it's not looking good, y'all. It's not looking good. And that's a great point, Lex. She makes all this money, but it's too expensive. And mind you, she buys her random men all sorts of things. No questions asked. She bought David a boat. She bought David a motorcycle. She let David live for free with her and whatnot, not contribute a single dime. Yet when it comes to Jace and Jace getting the health care that he deserves, it's too expensive. We're not going to do it. Very, very disappointing. Now, you guys, why don't we get into the Nikki Bella of it all, y'all? So, Nikki Bella, you guys like her too, right? We've been talking about her ever since things kind of hit the fan in her marriage with Artem Chigbintsev. But for people who might not be aware of it, what happened was at a certain point last year, the two of them were in Napa and a fight broke out. And Artem called the police. He accused Nikki of throwing shoes at him and striking him and whatnot. And although he was the one who called, actually, he called for an ambulance, not the police. Although he called for an ambulance, he wound up being arrested by the police, who also came to the scene of the alleged crime. And Nikki did not want to pursue things any further, so they had to drop the case. And now we're finding out that she owes him a lot of money. According to TMZ, Nikki Bella has to pay Artem $3,500 a month in child support for their son, Mateo. And she also has to give him $100,000 now and another $100,000 before the end of the year in spousal support. And then they're also saying that she's responsible for covering the cost of Mateo's speech therapist. And then they're going to split the other expenses 50-50 in regards to his extracurricular activities, for example. And she also, in the divorce, gets all of the trusts in her name, including Stephanie Nicole Garcia Entertainment and Bonita Bonita. And when it comes to how they're going to split custody, they're going to split up the major holidays when it comes to their child. So they'll trade off each year. One year, Christmas will be with Nikki. The next year, Christmas will be with Artem, you guys. This story makes me really sad. I don't know Artem too much, but I know Nikki because I used to love the WWE and I used to watch Total Bellas and everything. And so I just loved her and I loved her sister. And, you know, just hearing about this case makes me really sad. I personally think it's insane that you would have to pay anything to somebody who allegedly got physical with you, right? Like somebody who was charged for being violent against you. Like the idea of having to pay someone, you know, and you're breaking up because of this situation, right? I don't know. It feels really, really, really unfair in my opinion, but I digress. What do you guys think about it? Hey, Shelby, good morning. Every time I see the name Shelby, I say it in Bentley's voice. Remember when Ryan was dating that girl named Shelby? And then Bentley would be like Shelby. There was Dawis and Shelby. It's such a cute name. Tiff says, slow, but I like her. Artem was always the man child. Damn, ever since he got kicked off Dancing with the Stars, he is such a loser. Why are you taking from your son's mother? You know, I never got to watch their show together. For some reason, I didn't even know they had a show together. And so I really have to go and find a way to like binge all of that to see what their dynamic was actually like. I always felt as though he was mostly like a rebound for her after the situation with John Cena. And I have to say, you guys, I feel really terribly for Nikki. You know, she really wanted to be with John Cena, right? Family, kids, all of that. Sorry, not family, but marriage, kids, all of that. And he didn't want kids. He didn't want marriage. And then boom, right after their breakup, he's begging her for marriage, right? Even though she'd been with him for 6 years and he kept on like just fighting her against it. And then she sticks to her guns. She says no. And then he finds somebody else to get married to. He still doesn't have kids, doesn't want them, fine. But he got married to this other girl. And so, you know, she finds somebody else. And then that thing explodes in like 2 years, a year and a half or something like that. I really feel for her. She seems like such a lovely girl. And so I really hate that all of this turned out this way for her. And yeah, it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. Y'all, you got to pick your men wisely. I would hate to see my co-reporters having to shell out money on a man. No, thank you. Me too, Brie. I love them so much. I love their show. Diff says, damn, John Cena didn't look too bad with all his rules now, did he? He definitely got played by Artem. But you know what? John Cena, he seemed like the biggest prick. Oh my God. I don't know how she handled 6 years of that. The man spoke to her like a damn child. And Stephanie, you better stop. Boss babes out here wiping B words. And low-key, it's true. I do not know what is in the water with the girls, but like the girls are dating down. The girls are marrying down. The girls are letting random men like baby mama them. Like what happened? What happened, girls? We used to be like more strategic, smarter than this. What happened? Ramster says, why I never went for spousal support. The numbers, early retirement. What's the tea? What do you mean, Ramster? What's the tea? Bree says, this story broke my heart for them. I have a feeling Nikki has an anger problem. Oh, you really think so? I would be shocked, to be honest with you. She seems so chill on Total Bellas, but damn, maybe there's a completely different dynamic here. Because remember, different partners bring out different sides of us, right? T Root says she threw water on Sent's face. Oh, Siena's face once on camera. Did she? I didn't see that. You know what I associate her with? Opus One wine. Anytime they go out, Opus One. It's kind of like Olivia Pope with that wine brand she likes. I was watching WWE back when it was, oh, so you're the OG, when they had that like little wolf type of logo and whatnot, the chocolate. Shem says, I'm assuming they had a prenup, but I'd be mad when women got to pay men child support. I'm not even going to lie. Me too. In Artem's case, at least he's a very involved parent, so it bugs me less. No, I'm the same way. I don't know. You know, I'm still very like old school when it comes to that sort of thing. Something about it is just very off-putting to me. Shelby makes me always think of Steel Magnolias. Ooh, that's a show, right? Steel Magnolias. I think I've heard of that. John Cena was going to reverse his vasectomy. Was he really? She broke up with him because she felt he was, oh, damn it. So he was ready to finally get married, reverse the vasectomy. Damn, I wonder if she regrets it now. Like, do you think that, like, you know, if she knew what both options would bring, she would go for John Cena? Oh my God, I can't even imagine all of the what could have been, right? Tiff says, I feel bad for her, but she cheated on John. Did she? I didn't know. Lord, I thought they were broken up already. Lord, listen, I'm going to have to go do a deep dive on this because this is some really, really interesting stuff. Here, you guys, we do have to keep it moving. The time flies. I'm telling you, it truly does. We've only done how many stories? 3 stories now, but the time flies. Let's get into the Justin Bieber story. Then we're going to wrap it up with Lala Kent having some sort of cancerous situation with her eye. Okay. So Justin Bieber is now speaking out against all of the rumors that have been swirling for the past year or so, actually much longer than that he was one of Diddy's victims, right? You know, this photo that I'm posting here is from a video that the two of them shot that made a lot of people uncomfortable. Look at how young Justin Bieber is there, right? And how uncomfortable he looks. He's kind of like grimacing, right? As Diddy is talking about, oh, me and him, 48 hours, we're going to go wild, right? Just all sorts of weird things like that. But before we get into that video, let's talk about the statement that Justin Bieber's team released to Page Six. They said, and I quote, although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve. So at this point, I do agree, right? Shifting focus away, you know, if that's the case, then we have to respect it. He says that that is not the case, right? It's not a source that this is. His representatives are saying that that's not the case. The hearing is underway. He has not been mentioned as a witness. In fact, we actually have 2 new witnesses who have been named. They include Aubrey O'Day and Don Richard from Danny DK. But no Justin Bieber, right? So at this point, we kind of might have to accept that Justin Bieber was not involved in this. And so again, back to the things that were making people think that something odd was happening there. This video from 2009 was rather creepy, right? And so Diddy was saying all sorts of weird things like, for the next 48 hours, he's with me and we're going to go buck full crazy. And then he said it was going to be a 15-year-old's dream. Then there's all sorts of things like other videos where he's like, Justin, why don't you text me? Why don't you return my calls? Why is a grown man worried about what a 15-year-old is doing? And why is he calling a 15-year-old, right? All sorts of weird things. And then there was also another moment where the two of them were on Jimmy Kimmel's show. And Jimmy Kimmel was asking what they get up to, right? But basically, why is this? What are you doing with this middle-aged weirdo? What do you all do for fun? This is inappropriate, right? And so before Justin could answer, Diddy said something that was so eerie, which is he knows better than to be talking about things he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. That's not an innocuous thing to say, right? Like normally you'd say, oh, we go karting, we talk about the business, something, right? In my opinion, there's nothing appropriate that a 40-something-year-old man can be doing with a random, 15-year-old that he's not related to. Just saying, right? Just saying. So all of that stuff has understandably made a lot of people incredibly uncomfortable. So just saying about that. And in regards to a Diddy update, which I'm seeing that Jaleesa wanted, yesterday, Cassie had talked about him overdosing on some opiates that he was addicted to. And I don't really have much else noted for that. I think that she has to wrap up her testimony today. And then we're going to start rolling into the other people, which is Aubrey O'Day, Don Richard. And so if anything else kind of like jumps out at me, I'll let you guys know. But I think, as far as like news and transcripts from yesterday, it's a lot more quiet than the previous days. Okay. Star says, I think that this is why Justin is crashing out. Listen, I do think that something weird happened there. I still do think that it's very inappropriate, this friendship or whatever it was. But at this point, Justin doesn't want anything to be mentioned about that. So it is what it is. Bree says Justin Bieber was such a little kid around them. I can't imagine what they did to him. Maybe something did happen. Maybe it just wasn't with Diddy or something. I don't know. I hope nothing happened though, right? Because that would be sad to even imagine. Petty LaBelle says it's because that demon doesn't have any limits. I hope he wasn't abused by him. And I completely agree. Just Diddy, the sight of him even just makes me so disgusted. Princess Tia says, do we believe it? I don't know how I feel. Just based off of you guys' comments, it doesn't feel like y'all believe it, right? And then on my end, I do think it's a little bit questionable. I do, right? Because Usher, right? For example, Usher's another person who was hanging around with Diddy, when he was really, really young and whatnot. And then he said that he had seen things like he shouldn't have been seeing at 13 years old when he was hanging around Diddy, right? And so Bieber was 2 years older than that. And then Diddy was just making all kinds of weird, inappropriate, innuendos. So maybe something happened, right? Kayla says he may not have been that kind of victim, but he was definitely a victim as far as given substances, alcohol, put in situations. Yep, he shouldn't have been at his age. I agree. And don't forget, even on camera, some of the ladies even, right? Some ladies are creepy. It wasn't Jenny McCarthy feeling on his booty and whatnot. It wasn't someone else calling him hot and he was a child, all sorts of weird things. Tiff says, man, Justin is crashing out. Pray for him. I don't care what anybody says. He's been traumatized and the diddler is the reason why. And I understand. Listen, y'all, we just got to send positive vibes to Justin Bieber at this point, because whatever he's going through, you could tell that it's rough, right? And so I really do hope that he's able to work through this situation. I don't know if you guys got the opportunity to watch the TMZ documentary that we talked about yesterday. Did any of you guys get to tune in for that, where they did a deep dive into his finances? So basically, Justin is broke. He couldn't even afford to go golfing, you guys. Somebody had to loan him money or put the golfing session on their credit card. And then he had to desperately sell off his musical catalog. Scooter Braun told him, listen, do not do it in December. Do it in January. Wait 1 month so that you save a lot more money, right? The tax write-off. And then Justin was so cash poor, so desperate for cash that he sold it anyway. But he's made an incredible amount of money, anywhere from $500 million, so 500 million to $1 billion throughout the course of his career. So that is a big question. I haven't gotten to tune into the TMZ documentary yet. I am going to go looking for it, but what happened to all of that money? What does this man spend all of his money on, right? And then on top of that, Haley, she spends money, right? She spends money as well. She makes money as well. So these two, it's all just so damn weird when it comes to the two of them. But I'm gonna wait and see, watch the documentary and see how all of that goes, right? T-Root says Justin Bieber is too grown to be excusing his behavior regardless of his past. We all have trauma, and I can agree with that as well. Princess Tia reminds us that Usher had guardianship over Justin, so I agree with that as well. Maybe less looking at Diddy, more looking at Usher, you guys. I don't know. I'm just saying. And yes, Jaleesa, I remember this as well. I think we talked about this in yesterday's rundown. She wanted to walk into traffic and all sorts of, horrific things like that. But her husband stopped her from doing that. And, he really, really, really helped to keep her on the straight and narrow as far as her mental and emotional health is concerned. He truly is her guardian angel. Deja says Diddy's money runs long and so does his power. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's paying people off or getting his goons to threaten people. And that's the thing, right? We've heard things like that from a lot of people. So I wouldn't be surprised either. I think that whatever he was doing goes much deeper than what we know so far. Now, you guys, why don't we get into the Lala Kent of it all, shall we? Lala Kent from Vanderpump Rules shared a very, very alarming video about what's going on with her health. So take a look at it, and then we're going to talk about it on the flip side, okay?
I wanted to update you guys because I did that video on Mother's Day about my eye situation. So I originally went to an eye doctor and he was like, oh yeah, it just looks like an inflamed pinguecula, right? And a lot of people wrote in and were saying that same type of thing, or maybe it's allergies. For some reason, it just didn't feel right because the drops that he gave me weren't working. So I went to a doctor's appointment today to a doctor that came very highly recommended. And he looked at it and said, I do not think that it's that at all. I actually want to biopsy it because to me it looks like it could be pre-cancer. So again, maybe. So they're trying to expedite surgery to remove it and see what it actually is. I know I've shown you guys a million times, but I've been obsessing over it. Like, it started out, I want to say like maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, where it was like just like the slightest bit of discoloration. I was like, that is so weird. Like, what is that? Like a week and a half ago, it started becoming like an actual, like it looked like a blister to me. And I'm like, what is that? Again, it could be nothing. And that is the hope that when they go in, like it's nothing. And they said they just kind of like numb the eye. They'll remove it. They'll either put a stitch or they do like a skin graft from like the back of the eyelid. I don't know. I'm kind of freaking out a little.
So there you go. The doctor told Lala that, the pink mass in her eye looks cancerous. And so they have to start doing some eye drops to help clear things up for her. And I feel like it's a really, really terrifying thing to hear, especially with an area as sensitive as your eye. Like, I shudder at the thought of just how uncomfortable or how painful that procedure might have been on her eye to even get a biopsy or anything like that. So I'm really, really sad to hear from Lala about what it is that, she is facing right now. And I hope that everything turns out okay for her. So this is just a good reminder to do your best to, always follow up on your yearly medical appointments. Do not skip one, right? Like, even if you feel like you're fine, even if you feel like you're too young to have any kinds of problems, this, that, or the other, you really never know, right? Things like cancer, tumors, etc., do not discriminate by age, right? And they do not discriminate whether you're somebody who, is in the gym or who eats right or who doesn't. And, anybody can have it, right, at any time. So be very, very careful. Make sure to stay on top of your health. This is a very, very, very scary situation. Mariah says, praying for her. No matter what she's done, she's still a person. And I completely agree. Kayla says, my mom had to go through a few eye surgeries. Oh my God. Whew, I'm so sorry to hear that, Kayla. Oh my God. Even one is too many. A few. She had to deal with the eye drops, biopsies, and surgery. I feel so badly for her. Oh, the eye is just so sensitive. Oh my God. I really, honestly, I can't even imagine. I'm so sorry, Kayla. Is she doing better now? I really hope she is. Prayers for her indeed. Now, I had someone coming in here to drag me, J-Pie. Listen, I have a hard time. I think I should start having a notebook here so I could do the timestamps for you all. But I will tell you, that's why I like to cut up my morning reports into the separate segments, right? So I have a list here in my notes when I'm discussing, going through the episodes and whatnot. And so, after the episodes, for example, today, you're going to see me put up the video about Justin Baldoni getting scolded, or his lawyers getting scolded by the attorneys. The Jace one's going to, that way you guys don't have to skip around or anything like that. Each video is going to be its own stand-alone thing, okay? Let's see what some more of you guys' comments before I head out here. Mary Duda says, it's early stages. They may be able to save the eye. I truly, truly hope that they are. I'm shocked by this. I didn't even know you could get cancer in your eye. Typically when I think of cancer, I'm thinking, colon, rectal, I'm thinking cervical, I'm thinking breast, these sorts of things, bone, but your eye, like, wow, that's really, really shocking. It really, really is. Again, good luck to you, Lala. I hope everything goes okay for you. That is absolutely terrifying. And to you too, Kayla, I hope that your mom is doing well now. You guys, we have come to the end of today's morning report. Holy moly. By the way, channel members, I finished reading that final chapter of Caitlin and Tyler's book. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be uploaded right after this as well. Okay. You guys, TGIF. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thanks so much for popping on over here to chat with me. And I'll see you again bright and early for another morning report on Monday. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel or give it a thumbs up so that YouTube knows you enjoy my content. Take care, you guys. Bye.